to the ASUS ROG DreamLeague. Our first game, very short. After a fairly even game, all of a sudden, there's an anti-mage that dies twice and the game is over. What happened? Well, apart from anti-mage dying, why could it just be over so fast, Purge?
It was the fact that they had the best QoP and AM in the counter in the game. AM counter in the game. It's Ember Spirit. Sleight of Chains, Syrian Chains, Sleight of Fists. I always say Sleight of Chains.
But it's like the combo. Yeah.
It's a 3-second disable, prevents them from blinking. Both heroes are very vulnerable to TA. The combo together means they die in half a second, and they had a couple other stuns set up as well, such as Lina stun or Earthshaker Fissure, which is more ways to guarantee that TA has enough time to attack 3 times and then they die.
So you say it's an outdrafting issue?
I think it's... I mean, it's a drafting issue if they get into do-or-die situations at the 20-minute mark, which they did. It's the point where Tia has a Deso and AM has a Manta, but the Manta only stops one of those, and then it's on cooldown for 30 seconds. And then if he gets Syrian Chains again, sometime within that 30 seconds, he just dies instantly. Yeah. And they kept forcing fights, and they just kept dying. And once you lose 2 team fights in a row after the first Rax ends, then the game ends, because you get a double Rax at 20 minutes and there's no coming back. But if they could have delayed until AM had like a BKB or a Butterfly or could survive 3 attacks from Anti-Mage, then yeah, the game could have continued. But they kept fighting at that point and they kept dying. So that's why they lost. It just auto-lost right there.
Was it their fault that they kept on fighting? I mean, could they have
fair, I think the game was tied at 11-11, this kill score, and then I think we were all telling each other, it's like, oh, I think Empire's got this, because if they kind of slowed their row a bit, got their farm on AM, and made sure that, you know, he could get the I think BKB after Manta was an absolutely necessary, a must. And then they would have been fine at that point. But
I think one good thing Vega did was they dewarded every single one of Empire's wards, but they had no clue what was happening. And they, remember, they caught this, the smoke fail. Yeah. And then they're like, okay, well, if you fail a smoke, you usually go back to base. You know, that's usually the play, you know, or just go back to farming. But instead, Vega were 100% confident in their map control, so they decided, okay, let's keep going, and they ended up catching out Silent on his anti-mage.
First time he died.
One thing about that, though, is I think that the reason Vega continued was because they only revealed one, and it very likely could have looked to the other team like a blink meld strike rather than a smoke break meld strike. Because he was the only, there was a dagger, I guess. The QoP threw a dagger out as well, so they may have noticed that. But the rest of the team was still smoked, so they kept looking to see if they could grab a pick. And there was no wards on the map, so they got it.
Fair enough.
So, I don't know. Could have been 2 things.
Could have been 2 things. There were a lot of fights early on in the game, a lot of moments of action. Let's take a look at which one Lumi has selected for us for a luminous analysis.
all right, I got a replay where the AM just died, and then now Empire is trying to break base. So let's quickly jump in. What I kind of got from this replay was TA was kind of like Lycan in terms of once you have an open base, you just lose the game. All right, can we actually slow the row and go back a couple of seconds? Or just go back. We don't need to slow. All right, back. Keep going back. Keep going back. Keep going back. All right, let's have a pause here. So what we're actually going to see is Ember Spirit doing the chains. But normally, like in a very favorable position where you have Wyvern dead and the Queen of Pain dead, normally when you have an open rack, you're like, I'm gonna just hit the melee racks, right? But let's unpause and watch what the Ember Spirit does. Instead of hitting the racks, you actually just retreat to a very safe position and allow the TA to hit the frontline racks, which sounds like it's, I mean, it's just, that's your carry. Normally he's the one that's hitting the racks.
Yeah, so it looks like they're maybe weird. Backing off.
Yeah,
perhaps for Empire perspective.
Nineposh understands that he doesn't have his flame shield on, and he's actually the one that could easily get picked. Whereas if you look at the TF front, like he just does not care with a refraction. And because he actually backed off from earlier point, now he gets to re-engage after Lina takes both of the big AoE ultimates that could kill him. So I felt like Empire at this point has really overcommitted, and Nineposh, despite being at what, 40% health, he doesn't care. He knows that nothing could kill him at this point. So to me, Vega has very strong understanding of what are the biggest threats in the fights. And then you can see he actually triple remnants in as a very aggressive play at this point. He's like, nothing could kill me anymore. So I'm going to just go in, or double remnant goes in. So a great pick off, and he actually reserved the chain here, recognizing that they could get another kill on AM. So just really solid individual play on Ember Spirit. And again, this hero still remains...
all the time. He's been locked down. He didn't move at all.
Completely CC'd.
This hero remains to be 100% win rate for Vega, and I hope Team Empire bans it out next year.
You think it's just the hero and it's not the the heroes they combo with, like the Dazzle and the Lina.
I think they played it really well. There were a couple other clips I wanted to show, which was, again, they use Dazzle very offensively.
Yeah,
like
sick.
A lot of times, I think even in that fight where Lina got graved, and she knows she was gonna die, so she stood in there and Dragon Slave and
Use our mana.
Blade-o.
Laguna Blade, I looked that up, is dark magic. Someone actually showed it to me.
It's a black blade.
It's a black blade. But I also had the link saying that the lightning people are part of the lightning something, is part of hot-blooded
Fire magic.
fire magic. Cold-blooded fire magic, which is from the fire region, Avatar people. Firebenders.
Yes, the
She actually does scream, Laguna Blade.
Laguna Blade. Ah!
Yeah. So I just want to mention that we did get the anime lore correct.
Yes. But it did not. It was a black Laguna Blade rather than white. Black lined with.
You know what happened? They were playing Warcraft 3, right? And they're like, Lina throws a lightning attack, so they made it look like lightning. That's literally all that happened.
Yeah.
It's like a very common. They're like, we'll take this like typical like lightning shoot effect, we'll color
I think
it
Kevin
blue.
might be on this.
That's what happened, and Dota 2 was like, we gotta keep it consistent. There we are. We figured it out, guys.
Dota 2 messed it up, though. The anime clip that we watched, the first Laguna Blade she threw, she missed.
Yes.
And then, like, 2 seconds later, Laguna Blade again. I'm like, does she have a refresher orb or what? Like, this should not be ultimate. That should have been her key or something.
But she took so long to gather all the power of the Laguna Blade.
Doesn't
Also,
Lina
it's
do
like
the hand thing?
nope. Well, she does it real fast, that's for
She's
sure.
like-
But this one is like she's talking to herself for a while, like the build-up time. She's channeling it.
That's some DBZ stuff going on. She was talking.
It's a channeling spell.
What do you think
Val,
of this?
please.
Oh, I don't even care. Let's talk about the game more. You know what I thought was really interesting? Me and Shane talked about this. We talked about the Lina support. Normally you require setup, but your core with the Ember can do that so well. And like that's one reason.
The Shaker too.
And the Shaker,
Yeah.
either Fissure or the Syrian Chains. But the Syrian Chains especially, like how many times do we see Syrian Chains get 2 people next to each other?
Yes.
And
Like,
then Lina
like
gets
it's
to do Light Striker Ray and Dragon Slave on 2 heroes. It's so strong.
Isn't that also slightly the fault of the people that get caught out next to each other while there's an Ember chasing them
Well,
down?
the AoE is
Happens.
massive. Though.
Yeah, it's
like,
hard to.
I mean, you could catch people just on the outsides
Yeah.
of the
Yeah,
radius,
yeah.
and it's still like a giant AoE if you think about how much you're clipping.
And like, there's no other kind of core that comes to mind
There's not a lot of cores that can easily disable somebody instantly.
from a massive range.
Like you can say like Chaos Knight or something, but that's still projectiles. That's still single target. In most cases, those cooldowns are longer than 8 seconds. If anything's OP about Ember right now, I feel like it's Syrian Chain's 8-second cooldown. For 3 seconds uptime is way too good on a carry.
That is pretty good.
So good for disabling.
So we had a Shadow Fiend and a Brood first ban from Empire previous game. If they are going to ban out an Ember first series, a first ban phase this game, which one are they going to let through? Because I don't think you want to give Mac the Brood. And Vega has shown that they are not afraid to pick it in the first phase. But Shadow Fiend, Gonna have no one on the Shadow Fiend? That's gonna be really scary.
I just feel like they picked the wrong heroes against Ember.
To deal with it, yeah.
Like they picked heroes that Ember counters. It's Quap and AM. Like Syrian Chain just locks him
How
down.
do you counter Ember? What's the better pick?
Doom's okay, but they'll ban it.
Yeah.
You could outlay them, maybe with Viper or something like that. And
No, just aggressively trialing him or something. With
Okay.
like Dazzle, he has very low armor. He's really crappy the first couple levels. Aggressively trialing him is one solution.
Well, what we saw out of actually IG during the Chinese major qualifiers was that they picked a Sven, and he actually maxed Warcry second at like level 10. He actually only put 1 point hammer. So
I like that.
every time that Ember tried to do anything, plus 16 armor instantaneously to the whole team, and then they just tanked
Plus
everything.
20 now.
20 now?
Plus 20, yeah. The problem in this game wasn't the physical damage of the Sleight of Fist, though. It was
Yeah.
the magical damage.
It was
of
the
Ember
setup,
Spirit
actually.
with the
Yeah,
leader, yeah.
the
That's a
Lina.
late game solution
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
him. But the early game solution, I don't think Sven is the right hero.
Is it a healing hero?
I think
Perhaps.
silence and
Armor.
high magical burst damage is pretty good. Like, I think
Silence is
Skyrat's
good.
Skyrat's
Or
pretty good.
Silencer, yeah.
I'm not so fond
I
of
like
Silencer. Silencer's okay because if you do the E on him, the
Last word.
Last word, he can't do the combo.
yeah, he can't do a combo. He can only do one of the spells, and he can also only jump once. And if he jumps to escape, he can't do anything else. But I think burst damage is the key and control.
Storm's okay, I feel.
Storm's
Don't you feel like
good.
Storm's decent? Like that's maybe one reason why Ember was very rarely picked in the previous
Yeah,
patch.
that's true
Because
because he always
Storm
caught him.
could-
Because you can chase him, you always get Orchid.
I think Queen of Pain was their attempt at that. You know what I mean? They're like, okay, we can just Queen of Pain, we can go on and work it. Yeah,
I actually like things like LC or Abaddon, where if your teammate gets in trouble, you could debuff them and get them to harm's way. And LC gives you a way to actually go on the Ember. But I think the difference that kind of you mentioned is that Ember gets to initiate without any risk. He goes in, even if he misses the chain, like you're not putting yourself in harm's way. Comparing to a hero like Chaos Knight or LC, you physically put yourself in there, where if you get a bad initiation, you die. So that's kind of, I think, why we see Ember, another hero that's really strong. Actually, another character that has really low cooldown initiate is Slardar with the Blink, but similar story. You put yourself in there, you crush. Yep. If you get a bad initiate, you're dead. So
Ember Spirit can initiate without risk.
Yeah, that's kind of the OP part, I think.
You can fish for forever, basically.
So one thing we didn't talk about previous game is Yoki on, Yoku on the Rubik. So first of all, role switch. Second of all, he played that Rubik a lot different than from what we normally see from a low dance.
He played pretty well.
I thought he played
really well. I thought so too, and he was actually everywhere.
I tweeted Team Empire. I was like, what is this lane switch or role switch? He's like, oh, this is an off-lane Rubik. And I was like, he's literally not in the off-lane. He's in every lane except the off-lane. I really like the fact that he got an illusion rune and immediately he tower dove up top.
Yeah.
And they got a kill on Mag.
And very early on as well. Like, it's just...
Minute 2, actually. Yeah.
So you don't normally see that.
I mean, role switch, but it worked out, so...
Are we going to see it again?
I think he did well, though. You should roam. I think roaming on Rubik is something you can definitely do, especially against an offlane Earthshaker. Yeah. You don't really need to focus that much on zoning. Just about any support can do that. So send the Rubik, go try to get kills, pressure the other lanes. And I think he did that admirably. For the role swap itself, it could be something like they were unhappy with Yoku's mid play. So put him on a support instead, try to Aloha Dance. Maybe Aloha Dance is sitting there and thinking, you know, if I played mid, I think I wouldn't have made those same mistakes as you did in the late game. And that's something that a lot of teams talk about sometimes when they're having issues. And especially after you lose a qualifier tournament like Frankfurt, you're like, well, we stuck together, we rotated a little bit, but we're looking for solutions. This is not their first roster swap. They're trying to find a solution. Maybe they trust their talent, but maybe they feel like a position swap is what they need.
I think it actually shows it's very good, actually, because most teams would just say, okay, screw you, we're getting a new player. But they're willing to adapt and just kind of...
And work it out.
Work as a team and work it out together. Like, it's actually pretty cool.
It's scaring me, though, because they just put Resolution offlane.
And he hasn't had that much time to adapt. Same thing goes for you.
So it's like some sort of...
good, though, I think.
They're just going to cycle the players until they get their mid laner.
Well, the other scary thing is that MFF tried that with the Sock and effing Matt switch from core to mid. And then, like, 2 weeks later, they disband.
I think Empire's talent is better, though.
Yeah, I would agree.
We can actually take a look at the draft because Vega, if it goes for 100% win rate, with the Ember Spear, they can definitely win here again. This time there's no Brood ban, by the way. It's an I Wanna Doom removed by Empire, and Night Stalker actually getting banned first phase.
I don't think I've ever seen Resolution play Brood. Am I wrong?
Nomad Mag plays Brood.
No, I'm talking if
they want to pick it up themselves.
Yeah, to stop them picking it. Yes.
Mag has played Brood. I believe he did.
No, I know Mag played.
I mean, sorry. I don't mean Mag. I mean Resolution.
Really?
Yes, I believe he played it at least once.
Okay.
But again, it's not one of their go-to pickups like it would be for Vega. So I'm not sure if you would want to leave it in the pool, but apparently Vega is...
This looks very similar. Almost exactly. I think the Tusk and the Queen of Pain were the other way around.
That is correct. That is the only difference we see from the draft so far.
Okay, so that means that they've identified that the problem, at least they think the problem is not Tusk Queen of Pain. The problem is something else.
Anti-mage.
I think the anti-mage is... I think you can make a co-op work against an Ember. It's the same thing. If you get an Orchid way before the Ember, then you just own the game. And we saw that in the North American qualifiers in one of the South American games.
It kind of forces the Ember Spirit to get this defensive item as well, like the Yules or
Manta, almost always. So it forces him to get Manta, which is a good thing. But if you get to that point where your carry also gets two-shot by their mid, then it's an issue. So it's like, who's the other hero? The anti-mage is the issue, perhaps. They needed maybe a different hero, or they needed to play perfectly.
I really like the Rubik as well, so that couldn't have been a problem. Maybe they need just maybe they want a core that can fight earlier,
or a support that does more damage,
or a support that can fight earlier,
or a support that can contribute more against Ember. Because Rubik can stun him for 2 seconds, but his damage is really weak.
I like Shiver's idea of silencer in this game. I think it's amazing. And
wasn't my idea. I didn't say silencer. Did I?
You said it earlier. Lumi said
I was
it?
going to say, I would love to
Good
take...
job, Kevin.
I would love to take credit for it, but you know.
I think it's very good against both Dazzle and Ember. You can put the aggression on without much risk, because the Graves in the last game were just so clutch. Like every single one of them allowed them so much more space in this good fights.
We see a AA ban from Vega. Any chance of Alchemist coming out here for them?
I think it's very, very good.
Could be. Did they get Night? No, they didn't. Night Struck was banned. They do put Ember safely in almost every single time, so...
AA also stops Dazzle quite a lot. You know, in the last game we saw they were pushing mid and they used the Dazzle heal very effectively.
5 seconds remaining.
You mean okay?
Just dying. Okay.
But yeah, so as we just saw, actually, in that picture, like, Alchemist was completely ignored previous draft, right?
Yes.
Not banned, not picked.
That's interesting to me, because I really feel like he's the hero.
Well, given the fact that we see fights break out so early, like, I think 10 minutes in, both of these seem already fighting. Is Alchemist the hero that you want for these type of games?
I think Acid Spray is pretty decent in the stun.
That's pretty
When
good,
you can get Radiance at 12 minutes, is that really too late?
It shouldn't be too late. And at the same time, you will have a contribution already with your Acid Spray. It just...
Literally nothing has changed.
At the same time, you're going to get kited so much from with the chains. You're going to get stuck a lot. You're going to get disabled a lot.
All right, you know,
are we watching replay?
While this looks boring in the sense that it's the same picks, I find this interesting because it's very easy to follow. To say like, we know we basically get to see a team that lost a strategy and they say, what would we have done differently? Yeah. And they can adapt exactly how they want to. We don't have to like analyze a completely different draft. We can they're basically doing scrim practice right now. They're like, what would this game have been majorly different if our second support was a silencer or something instead of a Rubik? And we get to see that, and we get to see how that adapts, and we're going to learn something interesting about Ember's foot strength today. I really like that they're going kind of similar things.
Yeah, also actually is very Earthshaker instead of the Rubik.
I think it's going to be a support.
Earthshaker instead of Rubik?
Yeah, because Earthshaker was on Vega
you're right,
last time.
Earthshaker was on Vega. Okay, I thought for some reason he was...
But this time we'll have a Beastmaster. I really like Beastmaster actually because it's one of Mag's heroes.
Yes.
Mag's most played heroes actually for the like patches when Beastmaster was relevant previous.
They're also 100% with the hero.
And they're also 100% with the hero. There you go.
4-0.
And actually, we've seen Beastmaster a lot more in the last few days. I mean, we've seen No Chill play it, we've seen Bulldog play it. There's a lot of different playstyles out there. And I really think that Mag is really scary on this hero. So I like Vega's draft already a little bit more. Again.
In the site yesterday, though, against Alliance, Bulldog played the Beastmaster, so it's a different scenario. But it really did. It felt weak compared to other offlane heroes.
Yeah, that's true.
It wasn't as like Broodmother's like Bulldog is consistently top net worth. When he played Beastmaster, he was like middle of the pack. It's hard to catch up if you're zoned properly.
You're not really a flash farmer all the time.
I actually
Gyro versus Ember. I like that.
Gyro versus Beastmaster and Lina though.
That's tougher, but you still get a BKB.
And you have the silencer as well. It makes Beastmaster's life a lot harder if you have silence on top of it.
I feel like with the Earthshaker and the Tusk and the Silencer, they have good Ember lockdown.
10 seconds
and Gyro is tanky enough in the early game that he can just rock up barrage and run after people, and Vega's going to die. So I feel like their team fight transitions into the late game are going to be good.
They have a better plan for it.
Like they have lots of ways to kill Ember now in the early team fights because of stuns and silences. And Gyro is a very good run at them carry.
What do you feel like Vega should pick last?
Ricky Maru.
What? Why?
I think it's pretty good against all our heroes, to be honest.
Well, the problem is laning, right? They generally put the Ember in the safe lane, so Vega is looking for a hero for no one.
Yeah.
Unless they do some... I've seen support Beastmaster before, it's not very good.
We've seen mid Beastmaster as well, but then he's still an offlaner. So.
Mid Beast is good, not this game though.
Also, like in the past, I've seen no one play Lina a lot, and he's very, very good at the hero. So that wouldn't surprise me either. I don't know. I guess they're lacking. They have a lot of magical damage with Lina and Ember. They're lacking early game physical damage, I think, to pair up with the Dazzle. Is there Shadow Fiend's banned?
Well, last game they had something to set up for
PL would be pretty good. You can diffuse off the silence. It's bad against Earthshaker, obviously, but...
Kind of like it,
what else?
DK or Viper says...
You know what? I'm going to say DK.
I like DK, actually.
We mentioned DK previous draft as well. Still a very good early fighting hero, just to have.
what Draskel's pointing out is you need something that is good at team fighting
And frontlining.
and very early. And if DK just gets a BKB, he's
about
ready to party.
Centaur?
If Viper just gets a mech, he's ready to party. And he gets most of his value even still without casting his spells.
I think that's one of Vega's most picked hero in 6.84 as well, so they definitely know
10 seconds
how to play it.
remaining.
And-
Vipers.
No, DK.
Yeah, Dragon Knight.
It's the Sven.
Okay.
Okay.
You get the extra armor from the Sven.
How do you lane this now?
Limits
Beastmaster?
Black
Beastmaster
Cannon.
mid. It's Night
Ember
Pasha
mid?
on the Sven. It's a core Sven, and it looks like no one will be playing the Ember.
Yeah,
so.
they should put Ember mid and then give him Dazzle support a lot
Yeah,
earlier
yeah.
Yeah.
Send him
until he
up
gets
to
like
spec.
level
I
3.
mean, we had Dazzle in the mid lane for the TA previous game
Yeah,
as well,
true.
so he helped him out. Could also help the Ember out. So with the draft done, Shane, do you really want to?
I'm sticking with. I
You
know.
really want to stick with the Empire all the way?
I really think they can do it with this draft. I think the silencer is the
Is the
core
key?
component that they missed in the last game.
Okay.
And they got silent on Gyrocopter. I've seen him play that hero like
I respect you.
200
Stick to your
times.
guns. We'll see how it works out. Third.
I like both of these drafts a lot, but I'm going to go with the Sven draft. I'm going to say Vega.
Okay. Lumi?
I'm gonna go with Sven as well. What is it, 20 armor now?
20
Yeah,
armor,
let's do
baby.
so.
Black Cannon does no damage, basically.
There you go. Literally no damage.
Literally no.
I
was
will
also gonna do
side with our core analysts. Sorry, Shane.
Analyst, damn.
What are you telling me?
Flame.
I'll go for Vega. We'll see what our commentators think. It's time for game number 2. It is Vega versus Team Empire with Odie Pixel and Draskel.